LSU sneaks past Omaha to win game one, 4-2. Let's recap it. Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. I promise you we'll do this at every opportunity we can. As soon as an LSU baseball game goes final, boom, we'll be here live on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel. And, of course, we'll post the show on podcast later. So thank you for being here with us. LSU moves to 5-0 on the season. They beat Omaha 4-2 out at the box, a game that started at 4 p.m. on a cold day in Baton Rouge where temperatures for much of the day were in the 40s. Of course, they dropped throughout the night. And if you were watching this ball game or listening, it was very apparent wind was blowing hard and directly in from center field, which meant offense on this day was going to be hard to come by, and lo and behold, it was. The teams combined for just 6 runs, and the Tigers win it 4-2. A lot I want to talk about, and if you're new to the live stream, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game. I'll hit my quick break, and then we'll get to your comments. So if you have comments or questions, please leave them now in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to your comments and questions in the second segment after I run through my few quick takeaways from this game. I think missed opportunities have to be where we start. In the first inning, Stanfield struck out. We got to talk about Stanfield's day. Struck out 3 times on the day. But Curiel doubled in the first. You got a runner on second with 1 out. That's kind of what you need from Bear Jones. And he pressed a little bit and struck out on a 2-2 pitch. And then Ashton Larson, who got the start, walked. So you've got first and second with 2 outs and an opportunity for Danny Dickinson, who grounds into the fielder's choice, who grounds out to they get the out of Curiel at third. So a missed opportunity there at the first with a runner on second and less than 2 outs, and you weren't able to get that runner home. You scored 2 in the second, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, but the 7th is the one that you got to circle because you're sitting there in the 7th in a 4-2 ball game where you're really thinking, man, this is a little tenuous at this point because Omaha had managed to get some guys on base, and LSU's hanging on to a 2-run lead at this point. Curiel strikes out to open the inning. Jones singles. You're not going to see many of these. It was an infield single for Jared Jones. He hit it deep into the hole at short and beat out the throw at first. The ball popped out of the first baseman's mid either way, but it looked like Jared Jones was going to be single. You're not going to see Jones leg out too many infield singles, but that was a full count, and he grounded one to the right side and got on. Then Larson walked, and Dickinson flied out. But a heads-up play by Bear Jones, who took third on the deep fly out. But again, nothing was going to carry on this day. Then Milam walked. So you get the bases loaded with 2 outs and Michael Braswell coming up, and Braswell struck out on 3 pitches. That was not a competitive at-bat by Michael Braswell. The pitch he struck out on was a letter-high fastball, and he swung over that pitch. I mean, that is a letter-high fastball you've got to make contact with, especially in that situation. So I can understand 0-2, you're defensive, maybe thinking you're going to get a waste pitch there, but you got a pitch you could hit, and you got to drive the baseball. It's very disappointing that Braswell struck out in that spot. Really, the strikeouts were kind of a problem for this team. Then again, in the 8th, you had another opportunity to get a run home. After Hernandez, a 1-out double, Stanfield struck out. Again, it was a problem for Stanfield on this day. They tried to backpick Hernandez at second, which is just the dumbest play in baseball. It never works. And more often than not, when something eventful does happen, it's the pitcher throwing the ball in the center field, which is what happened. So Hernandez is at third, and now you have Curiel up, and Curiel strikes out swinging on a 2-2 pitch. So Tigers had some opportunities in this ball game, but the strikeouts really were a problem. LSU hitters struck out 8 times. Stanfield struck out 3 times. Curiel struck out twice. Jones, Braswell, and Brown each struck out. We've talked about the Jones and Braswell strikeouts, but man, the Stanfield and Curiel strikeouts at the top of the lineup are a problem. because, and listen, I'm not going to overreact to this because it's early in the season. This is just the 5th game, and I understand Jay is still tasting and trying at this point. But my contention is, and I don't know that Jay is going to acknowledge this at this point, but my contention is I think Jay knows that at any point, he can take Milam and Braswell, put him at the top of the lineup, and you're good to go. In 1, 2, in whatever order. Those are guys who did it last year. They're fine. You know they can hit SEC pitching, whatever. I think this is a moment where he's looking at Stanfield and Curiel and saying, okay, can you be my table setters at the top of the lineup to get on base for my run producers? And then I can load the bottom of the lineup as well. So there's no place where an opposing pitcher can ever exhale. And through the opening weekend, it was pretty good. This is one of those where your top 2 hitters combined for 5 strikeouts. That's a problem. I understand sometimes in baseball you have bad baseball fortune. Sometimes you hit the ball hard right at people. That's just baseball. I mean, you can hit the ball 350 feet and it can be an out. You can hit the ball 10 feet and it can be a hit. That's baseball. So, but if you're not putting the ball in play, that's a problem. And that happened too much in this ball game. So if you're looking for something moving forward to the rest of the weekend, definitely something you want to keep an eye on. On the mound, we did see Kase Anderson extend a bit. Remember, last week he went 5 innings. In this outing, Jay let him pitch into the 6th, and he went out there and he had an out in the 6th and then had an 0-2 count. And boy, did it just get away from him there in the 6th. And ultimately, after allowing a run, and ultimately the 6th is where Omaha broke through. So he gets a leadoff walk, and we all know the stat, leadoff walks score 50% of the time. In this instance, Beck walked to lead off the inning and came around. They got a ground out. There was a pass ball, which I didn't love to see. It was really a tough play by Hernandez. It was a ball low and away, but it's a ball you cannot let. Actually, it was low and in to the right-handed hitter, but that's one you just got to block up. You cannot let that ball go to the backstop to give up a base. Now, I think if I have one real concern, like just one real concern about this team right now, it's you do not have a good defensive catcher, at least not one that's shown himself at this point. Well, then Babin walked, so now you've got first and third with 1 out, and you give up the single, which scores the run, another single, which allowed the runners to advance, and then a sac fly to get the second run in. Benj came in and got the out on the sac fly, but the run was charged, obviously, to Kase Anderson. And then you got a ground ball to third, and a really nice play by Michael Braswell, by the way. So Braswell defensively has shown he's acquitted himself very well at third base. So Kase Anderson, they let him extend into the 6th. The 6th is where they finally broke through against him. It was a nice job by Connor Benj to get out of the 6th inning there to limit the damage in the 6th. And then at that point, we got to see Maverick Rizzi in the 7th, who had 1 strikeout. He did allow a hit. Was a little shaky, but needed 13 pitches. And then in the 8th, we saw Kase Evans go in to pitch the 8th and the 9th, and he was just awesome. And if there is one big story of this early season so far, I think it's Kase Evans. Now, I know I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and some of you are already asking about Gavin Guidry. And yes, I am surprised Gavin Guidry didn't pitch in this game. But I think Jay, early in the season, is revealing to you what he feels about Kase Evans. And Evans went out there and threw 2 innings, and he got 6 outs, and he struck out 5. Five of the 6 outs were strikeouts. He did get a fly out as well in shallow right field. He walked a hitter on a borderline pitch that looked like it could have been a called strike 3 on a full count, but Kase Evans looks awesome. I understand the two teams he's played against so far, pitched against, are Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Omaha. So I'm not here trying to oversell this, but the stuff is undeniable for Evans, and he has overwhelming stuff. And he may be a first out of the bullpen. He may be a back of the bullpen guy. He is going to be a guy that has a role in high leverage situations for this team, whether it's first out of the bullpen with runners on base to stamp out a fire, or if it's at the end of the game to go get the final 3 outs and strike out the side like we saw him do in the 9th. I mean, or I guess he struck out the side in the 8th, which is when he had to walk. He got two strikeouts in the 9th with 1 fly out. But Kase Evans was awesome and continues to be. So a couple of takeaways from the game that I had. We did see, as we mentioned, some lineup changes as well. We saw Milam and Braswell move up in the order to 6th and 7th in the lineup, whereas they had batted 8th and 9th last weekend. We did see Ashton Larson DH in this ball game, and he DH'd and batted 4th. So he was the guy there to provide protection for Jared Jones in the lineup. And unfortunately, that didn't go so great. It was a day where, well, let me rephrase that. Larson walked 3 times. So he got on base 3 times. But if you're looking for guys that are going to be able to hit behind Larson, I still think Dickinson is probably your best option, unless if you can get Ethan Fry going pretty consistently. But that remains to be seen. They'll play a doubleheader on Saturday. Let's do this. I'll knock out my quick break, come back, give you a little bit of what to watch in the doubleheader, and I get to your comments. So please fire away with your comments. If you've got them, questions or any comments, we'd love to get to you here on the live stream as LSU wins 4-2 in Game 1 against Omaha. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there is no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet on a fourth-quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using the live betting feature. Very candidly, when LSU was playing Omaha in Game 1, the live in-game number went to 5.5. I really strongly looked at Omaha plus 5.5, but decided against it. Probably should have made that bet. But if you're backing your favorite team for a late-game rally, picking a player to hit a clutch 3, never feel like you missed your chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, LSU will play a doubleheader on Saturday because of inclement weather expected in the Baton Rouge area on Sunday. So noon, first pitch for Game 2, Game 1 of the doubleheader, but Game 2 of the series, and then a 5 o'clock first pitch for Game 3. So noon and 5 p.m. on Saturday. It'll be Anthony Ianson, the junior righty transfer for LSU. It'll be Chase Shores in Game 3 of the series, Game 2 of the doubleheader. For Omaha, senior righty Ben Weber will go in Game 2. Then junior righty CJ Hood will go in Game 3. Both these guys really got roughed up last weekend against Tulane. Ben Weber has got an ERA of 12 in just 3 innings pitched, struck out 2, walked 2. Hood has an ERA of 9. He took the loss. Just 2 innings pitched against Tulane in Game 3, walked 4 and struck out 2. So the walks for Omaha have been a problem. The LSU pitchers, again, can continue to be impressive. They combined to strike out 14, Kate Anderson with 8 of them, and Evans with 5. But 3 walks on the day for LSU pitching. LSU hitters drew 7 walks from Omaha pitching, but they also struck out 8 times. So love that walk number for LSU's hitters. They got to get the strikeouts down on Saturday in that doubleheader. All right, let's get to you. Thanks so much for being here with us. Lance Richard, are you surprised as I was that we didn't see Guidry for the 9th? Yes. Maybe not necessarily for the 9th, but I am surprised that we didn't see Gavin Guidry at all. That is a surprise to me. Guidry was certainly the expectation that when he didn't pitch last weekend, was that he was going to pitch on Wednesday. Jay admitted as much in the game at Nichols. And because the weather was what it was and they didn't play on Wednesday, Jay was asked if earlier this week if he was going to start Gavin on Monday against Nichols, with that game being moved to Monday. And he said, not necessarily. And this felt like a great opportunity to get Gavin Guidry in. But now we're doing this live. I haven't heard Jay Johnson's post-game comments, but my guess is he wanted to see Gavin Guidry was on the bump for the final out in Omaha. Okay. Like we've seen Gavin Guidry in high-level situations and high-leverage situations. Kase Evans blowing away Purdue Fort Wayne first out of the bullpen last weekend isn't a high leverage situation. And quite honestly, I'm not sure any of us thought we were going to see LSU in any type of high leverage situation in this 3-game series against a pretty bad an overmatched Omaha team. So I think Jay looked at it and was like, and again, I haven't seen his post-game comments, but I have a guess this is what he was thinking. I know what Gavin Guidry will do in this spot. I don't know what Kase Evans is going to do in a 2-run game in the ninth and a save opportunity. Let me see what he can do. With the wind blowing in, it's 40 degrees, it's freezing cold, the stands are empty, it's pretty miserable. You got a team in the other dugout believing and trying to have a little bit of an uprising. Can you go hold them down and stamp it out? And we saw what happened. Hughes Bowden, thank you for the post-game reactions. Thank you, Hughes. I appreciate you for watching, man. Thank you for being here. Danny, surprised didn't see Guidry. Cole said, think we got a closer, 5 Ks in the 8th and 9th. You know, Cole, I don't know that Kase Evans is going to be the closer. It certainly could be the case. Pun, Kase Evans. But it may be a situation where Evans could end up being your first out of the bullpen guy. He could be the guy that in a given weekend series, let's say you're playing Texas A&M. It's a tie ball game, 2nd and 3rd with 1 out in the 6th. You need someone who can come into the game and get you a strikeout to get out of this thing, right? Who are you going to? Kase Evans may be that guy. So I don't know that I'm necessarily just saying he's going to be the closer, because to get to your closer, you have to have the lead in the 8th and the 9th, or the 9th, I should say. There may be opportunities in games where you have high leverage situations where Kase Evans is better served for that. Whereas I can look at other games and say, well, look, Gavin Guidry can be my closer in the 9th. I know he can be that. William Schmidt could be a multi-inning guy at the end of the game. I mean, he was fantastic. There's no shortage of options on this team. And I think Jay is going to look at Kase Evans as more of, how they used Griffin Herring a year ago, unless, and this is something we'll see how it develops, but another option in that role is I keep blanking. God bless. I keep blanking on this kid's name, and it's gonna the lefty from JUCO who they're super high on, and I don't know why I keep blanking on him. Who started the midweek game, but hang on, I'm looking. Y'all, someone's gonna put it in the comments, and I don't know why I keep blanking on this name, but I'm gonna get it. It's 55, Connor Ware. I know his number. I can see him. Connor Ware. Connor Ware may end up being the Griffin Herring role, but Kase Evans is showing he's quite capable of that as well. All right. If you're on YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for being there with us. Let's see. Guy Brooks, cold weather baseball, not entertaining, but a great win considering the conditions. Good evening, y'all. Thanks for being here. Don't forget, another comment, don't forget the sacrifice bunt. Luckily, the outfielder didn't take control and LSU scored. LSU did offer up a sack bunt. I don't love that. They did get a run home on the sack, but I don't know how I feel about it. Your run scoring probability goes down when you give up outs. It always feels like the right thing to do. You could argue in this game, getting a run home, gave you a little bit of a cushion there to be up 4. I would also look and say, I don't know that I necessarily would have done that because it took away the opportunity at a big inning. Anyway, that's just preference. I understand not everybody agrees. Don't want to get too deep into that. Zachary said, cold baseball looks miserable. A couple more here. Caleb, freshman bullpen arms were up to the tight game. When do you think we see Guidry? I think at this point, it's probably going to be a matter of how the 2 games on Saturday play out. Because if Jay wants to start Gavin Guidry, and I think that is something they are considering, is having him as a possible starter, is that maybe you can hold Guidry for Monday and start him against Nichols. However, there certainly could be a situation where you get Gavin Guidry into the game, one of the games on Saturday. I personally would like to see Guidry pitch on Saturday and start Connor Ware on Monday, because the best information that I've gotten so far is that Connor Ware, and I'll tell you, this was I had a conversation with a scout who knows this team, scouts this area, knows the team inside out, who said in fall ball and in preseason, Connor Ware was LSU's best pitcher. No qualifications. Not best newcomer, not best JUCO arm, not best, right? Just Connor Ware was LSU's best pitcher. Now, you went into the portal, you spent a lot of money to get Ianson, who's very good. I mean, the scouts love him. You have a 6'8" righty who throws 100 going in game 3. Cade Anderson is right now your front of the rotation guy. But last year at this time, Thatcher Hurd was your Friday night guy, and it didn't hold up. I guess all that to say, if anything wobbles, if anyone wobbles, I think Ware is the next guy into the rotation. So I would probably like to see Connor Ware start the game Monday and see, or you could use Ware out of the bullpen Saturday, start Guidry Monday, and then when you go play Dallas Baptist on Wednesday at a big league ballpark, have Connor Ware ready to start Wednesday against Dallas Baptist, which may even be a better option. Frank, thanks for being there with us. Trey says they want to give Guidry a chance to be a starter. Yes, that's undeniable. And I don't know that's going to happen for him this year on this team, but it may manifest. You can always use him at the back of the bullpen, but they definitely want to give him a look as a starting pitcher. Thomas, good evening. Excited about the possibilities of this team. Keeping calm until we get into SEC play. You should. You absolutely should. Hey, Cole, you should absolutely not read too much into anything at this point in the season. Given the level of competition you're playing, at this point, it is a matter of the comp that I give often with games like this. Put on your football cap for a second. When LSU plays Nicholls State in football or Nicholls in football, what are you hoping to see? Well, don't turn the ball over. Don't drop passes. Be sound tackling. Don't commit dumb penalties. Control the controllables. So in baseball, that means have your pitchers throw strikes, have your hitters avoid strikeouts, put the ball in play, have your hitters have a good eye, good approach, take walks when necessary, play sound defense behind your pitchers. And you're checking all those boxes so far. The 7 strikeouts the 8 strikeouts for LSU's hitters in this ball game, that's concerning. But they did walk 7 times. So I like that your hitters drew 7 walks. I don't like that you struck out 8 times, especially seeing a guy like Braswell, a veteran hitter, strike out on 3 pitches in the 7th inning with the bases loaded. A couple of more we can get to. Michael said, I'm seeing a trend of leaving bases loaded and runner on third. That can't happen in SEC play. That was certainly part of the narrative last weekend as well, is hitting in the clutch. But sometimes when you win in such a one-sided fashion that LSU did that opening weekend, those things get muted. But we did talk about that in our post-game recaps if you want to go back and check those out. A few more here. Thomas, I think this pitching has the potential to be special. Thanks for taking the time to do the live recaps. Thank you, Thomas, for watching. I do them because you're watching. I agree with you. I was talking to Doug Thompson, former Tiger great, who you hear on the LSU Sports Radio Network broadcast. Said he thinks it's the deepest pitching staff he's ever seen. Now, keep in mind, Doug pitched on the 1997 National Championship team, pitched on the 1998 team that went to Omaha, and has been around LSU baseball now for nearly 30 years. And says it's the deepest staff he's ever seen. That's a pretty good perspective, and I don't disagree. You've got 8 guys that throw 95 or higher. That's just uncanny. I think a lot of this is a product of NIL, certainly of transfer portal as well, where you can accumulate this many talented arms on one staff and keep guys like William Schmidt from signing in the draft and staying and playing college baseball. That's a product of the era, because in a different era, a guy like that never shows up. But yes, you might very well have the deepest pitching staff LSU's ever had. Merrick, that sad to hear about Thatcher Hurd. Yeah, so Thatcher Hurd, if you missed it, he'll have Tommy John. Remember, he came to LSU after having the back injury against UCLA, but Tommy John will be shut down there, but wish him all the best on a quick recovery. Hey, Barry, and one more. Adam says, Jay knows his pitching staff is elite. Putting the right pieces in place will take a few games. I think it's going to take more than a few games. If you missed one of the best sound bites I've heard so far, we had Jacob Myers, the Nicholls transfer, on After Further Review, my radio show this week. And over the weekend against Purdue Fort Wayne, Jay kept rolling these pitchers out for 1 inning at a time. And Myers said that Jay calls them his 1 inning assassins. And so I think this is what you're going to see. The good problem, I'm using air quotes here, that LSU has is how do you get all of these guys work? How do you get all of these guys ABs when you're this deep and talented? When you have a dozen guys literally that could be everyday players for you. When you have 8 guys that could be everyday outfielders for you. When you have 15 pitchers that could compete for you, you got to get them work. And that's going to be a big challenge for Jay and for Nate Yeski. But it's a good problem to have. And the other good thing is you got a month and you open up conference play against Missouri. So unlike a year ago where you started the SEC in a meat grinder, this year it's a little more of a manageable pushing off from the dock in conference play. And you should, like I never say you should sweep because it's baseball and weird things happen, but you have a great opportunity to sweep Missouri, start 3-0. So you should be starting with a little bit of a lead once you get rolling through conference play. Okay, y'all, that's going to do it for us here on this quick recap of LSU's Game 1 win over Omaha. 4-2, the Tigers win it. Thanks so much for being with us here. If you would, YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. Hey, for Saturday, I'll give you a post-game recap after the first game, but I'm heading to New Orleans Saturday night, so I'm not going to be live after the third game of the series. But I promise you, I'll get you a recap of that one. I'll have plenty to do on Sunday as well with no game. In the meantime, let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU. It's your team every day.